Good morning, all. I hope all of you had a very nice journey to Kigali and you really had a good rest before we start the intense workshop for the Western Central Africa Initiative. I wish I would be there with you while it's starting, but because of some challenges, I couldn't make it physically to the early session. That's why I want to share you with records about the workshop program and what we're gonna do in these intense 4 days. Just to let you know, I will join you very shortly. Probably I'm traveling now, and we will see each other today. So thank you very much for Jen and Harv for the opening of the workshop. It's really exciting to join and continue our journey for scaling readiness and investment action planning. Here we really designed it like a very intense 4 days for you and maximize the benefit of all innovative teams in our initiative. Our focus will be accelerating investments as usual in high readiness CGIAR solutions in West and Central Africa. So our workshop is a continuation of our earlier efforts in the Work Package 5 of Western Central Africa Initiative. I think you already know the term now. It's called TICS. It's about technology, innovation, communication, knowledge, and stakeholder management. We're trying to bring the different elements of the practice of scaling together and implement them in a coherent strategy. We previously had multiple interactions and multiple moments of work together on progressing, and this will be a continuation. Our workshop is between today and until Friday. We will have intense 4 days together, and unless we inform you about the changes, the workshop is going to be in this room in Homelands. I would like to thank the organizers in IITA and SIP for making this event happen. They led actually the early preparations, but all of us indeed in the initiative contributed. We were expecting 19 participants. I hope our colleagues in Africa Rise will be able to make it, but if they're not, we're gonna be in 16 people. We have 5 major objectives for this workshop. The first one, we revisit the work plan of the CGIAR, our initiative, let's say, and remind ourselves of our earlier work in technology, innovation, communication, knowledge, and stakeholder management. We will revisit also later, starting from the day 2, the investment action plan process. You remember we had already 2 presentations, and one of them you were actively working already on the investment action plan, but we will revisit again in the second day and then for building up later. We will complete the data on critical characteristics of innovative solutions. We already started in our last workshop to better understand the most relevant data for raising money or raising funding. We will continue building up that, and we will provide the missing gaps or missing data on our innovative solutions. After that, we will be trying to understand and generate data on the context. As we all know, context really matters when it comes to investment, innovation, and scaling, and we will try to close those gaps. And finally, we will also complete the scaling readiness assessment for our innovative solutions. We had a full workshop on understanding and measuring the scaling readiness. In this very first day, our sole task is working on scaling readiness. What we expect to at least 15 innovators to be trained. I think we got that numbers already on investment action planning. We also expect to have at least 8 innovative solutions, and the data and their context, we have a full data set, and we also hope to have 10 innovative solutions scaling readiness documentation is being completed. The first day will be the scaling readiness day. Aaron will guide us through with my support later, and Jen Low support later on the scaling readiness processes. Here we will revisit initially the approach and why it was useful and what it was. And then we will see a deep dive example from orange flash with potato fresh root promotion, how scaling readiness was used and what are the benefits and learning that's generated. And then we will start get our hand dirty, we will work in our groups and do the scaling readiness, continue doing the scaling readiness assessment. After that, we initially thought that we will have 3 different presentations to better understand that scaling readiness works. Our colleagues, our other innovator teams. Specifically, we thought that it could be good to have a look at the small scale irrigation, black soldier fry, and DACA. But of course, we will see how it goes and we might change and update as we think it's necessary. And we will finish the first day with reflections. We will try to see where we started and where we ended. And then the second day we are starting from the investment action planning. The investment action planning day 1 is about knowing our or your investors. We have 5 different key things to do in the second day. We will first work on defining the ideal investor. We will try to imagine. We will try to visualize what will be the ideal investor. From there onwards, we will methodologically go towards our best chances. The second step of the first day, knowing our investors, is to agree on the best investor type. Depending on the readiness level of our innovation and use layer, our innovation, or in quote scaling readiness of our innovation, the best investor type will change. Through the exercises which is prepared for you, you will be going through the different types, discussing among themselves. We will have a conversation together sometimes, all of us, and we will identify the best investor type specific for your innovative solution. From there onwards, we will initially identify the best bet. We will revisit these concepts, but what it means basically that we will try to dream and identify the best bet type. And from there onwards, in the best bet type, we will try to prioritize the top 5. 5 might be actually looking at a big number, but when you start thinking about specific investor, it's actually not many. So we will try to see the top 5 best fit, which means, for in an ideal circumstances, these 5 are the best or highest likely source of funding. From there onwards, we will go to build up the process, and from the best bet, we will see the most practical or the most possible, which is the best fit. We will see among the 5 best bet, which one of the 3, or maybe less 2, we have a more realistic possibilities. And we will evaluate together and understand the most realistic or best fit investors, and 2-3 of them. And from there onwards, we will already start brainstorming about what could be the specific engagement principles with these 2 or 3. And this will be the end of day 2 or the first day of investment planning. At the end of day 1, we will have a much better idea about our investors and the investors that has the highest, specific investor that has the highest chance of bringing a lot of money. The day 3 is the second day of investment action planning. We will start to think how we can win the heart of investors. As we discussed in our early workshop, the investment processes is not just about providing the facts and numbers. It is actually creating a compelling story that convinces the donors. Of course, if our donors or investor is only about the public organizations, you might think that actually there are procedures, call and evaluation criteria. But indeed, you would be very much surprised how having a compelling story also influences all those organizations' evaluation processes. That's why we will focus on the Second day on the win in the heart of investors. Winning the heart of investors is obviously, or I'm sure you started to think already, is an art, but still there is some science or practice, best practice of it. First, we will elaborate in the second day of the investment action planning why our cases is very compelling. It is a must that we have a very compelling case. We won't have significant investors if we don't have really urgency and very compelling story. Together we will elaborate and find what could be the elements that will present our case as a very nice compelling story. Building on that, then we will try to go the specific steps. The next one is about the popular and urgent problems our innovative solutions solve. What that means, we have a solution and that really address popular. That's a key word. We really want our solutions to have impact at scale. And unless the problem is popular and common across the sectors and across the livelihoods, we're not going to have an impact at scale solution. And secondly, it has to be urgent. As we know, there are so many problems all around in the smallholder farming systems. Obviously, we're not going to be able to solve all. So it's very important that our solution targets the urgent one. We will together elaborate what could be the popular and urgent problems that our solutions address. I'm sure all of you actually have those popular and urgent problems, but we're trying to sharpen up them here. And from the popular and urgent problems, we will move on to the innovative solutions and showing that our solutions are the best. One of the most common things done in the fundraising, we only talk about our solutions, but we usually fail to show why it's better than alternatives. In the end, fundraising and investment is a competitive process, and we need to show that our is better than the others. Then here, in this part, we will actually try to understand why our innovative solution is the best available. Afterwards, we will try to identify when and where we have the most compelling story. Having looked at urgent problems and popular problems we solve and why our solution is better, we probably already will think that this is applicable only for a specific time and specific areas. We will sharpen up and find that zone where we have a popular urgent problem and our solution is the best and most compelling. From there onwards, we will start at the okay, this is where we know where to do, when to do, and why our solution is much better than the others. Then we will start constructing the story with the protagonist. If we want to have an impact story that will attract investors' hearts, what could be the innovators involved, who should be the partners, and who should be the brokers and other support actors. And we should really have an emotional, or we should really think about the heart again, why we need to have those innovators, what is the human element of their involvement, why we need partners, why we need brokers. Having all those, we will already have I think, quite a mature idea where we are heading to, and we will express that in first the transformation statement. As you might know from the theory of change of our initiative and also the history of the innovative solutions you're developing, we aim for transformation. We aim for impact at scale. So we will try to have a single statement that shares what kind of transformation we are aiming by our innovations. And finally, we will try to draft a call for action. We will see how the day 2 of investment action planning goes, but we will understand how we can trigger change and mobilize others, how we can make a call to inspire others to take action. This will be ending of our investment action planning day 2. By the end of the second day or the third day of the workshop, we will know, at least we will have a clear idea how we can win the hearts. And in the last day, we will move on to the mind. Of course, winning the heart is not sufficient. If you want to attract investment, we have to also win the mind. We will start with we will be looking at the facts. We know that the mind will be influenced by the facts. The first one we're doing is undisputed facts on the severity of the problem. As I said in the beginning, if we have a small problem, we cannot have impact at scale. We need to have a really big problem. And our solution needs to address the big problem. So we will try to first convince the potential investors that, look, this problem is really severe. It needs to be addressed. From there, we will try to understand and present the facts how our solution solved the problem. It is very important to have evidence on how our solution will be solving this severe or urgent problem. And initial part of that is really looking at the theory, looking at the practice, and making really a clear, compelling link between our solution and the problem. After the how, we will look at when and where we can gather the evidence our solution can address the urgent problem, and how, when that evidence was generated. We will try to bring the numbers and collect the facts around that. From there onwards, we will go on the facts on who should be involved and how much involvement we need from the others. And in the first 3 steps, we will understand the past. Now we will be going towards more today and the future. Here, it's very important to have a partnership that fits actually purpose. Most of us or our system might have a tendency to partner with everyone, but investors, especially towards the private sector, will be very sensitive. Not overcomplicated matters and not increasing the cost without any gain. Here we try to be very systematic and bring our facts on who should be involved, how much they should be involved, and who should not be involved. From there onwards, we will try to start estimating. We will try to, using all the facts we generated and keeping our compelling story in mind from the day before, we will try to estimate the size of transformation. And after the size of transformation, we will give a bill. It's very important for investors to have a clear idea about how much will it cost for what. And by the end of this day 4, we will have a very good idea. So this is the program. If you go towards the below, you will be able to see the agenda. I'm not sure if you can see all of it. There might be a problem with the screen, but regardless, it is there. And I sent you the link before. We will be using only a single link for all the agenda related issues. You will be already seeing the specifics. And one thing maybe I need to mention, as we develop the tools, as I share the templates, all of them will be in this agenda as well. So if you want to revisit anything or if you need to find any materials, you will be using this document. Therefore, for the next 3 days and 4 days, it's great to add this link to your favorite list or maybe a shortcut in your desktop. This is it. This is how we want to go forward for the next 3-4 days. As I said, I'm really sorry for not being able to join physically into the first session, but I'm on the way and coming and looking forward to continuing our journey together. See you soon.